If you want to change your life, you have to change the people in your life. If you want to change your life, you have to change the people in your life. At the end of the day, God is not dropping manna down from the sky in Egypt anymore, right? But what he is doing is sending blessings through people called vessels that turn into resources. And so if you have people around you that are always making more withdrawals than deposits, it's going to be pretty hard for you to win in life. Now, that may stroke your pride and your ego and make you feel good that people always need you. But if at some point, in order for you to advance, you need somebody that can help you advance. And so I love, putting myself in rooms where I feel a little insecure. I love being in those rooms where I got to kind of shrink and absorb first before I feel good about stepping up and speaking up, because I know that I'm growing. And, when you come from where I come from, unfortunately, you got to pay to get into the rooms to get those relationships, because those relationships don't exist in your natural habitat, because everybody else is naturally experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing. So to experience something different, and if you don't have these kind of relationships, you have to pay to get in the rooms with those relationships, which I love, because scripture also tells us that the heart follows the pocketbook. One of the main reasons why we shouldn't give away, not beyond giveaway, but we shouldn't sell our products for cheap or feel like our business is a charity, is because scripture tells us that the heart follows the pocketbook. Where your treasure is, so your heart will be also. So the more that we invest in ourselves, the more that our heart is in that investment, the more likelihood that we are to follow through on the things that come with along with that investment, called the work that needs to happen, right? So you pay a little, you do a little. You pay a lot, you do a lot. And what I found is that everybody that I just explained in that little soliloquy are all looking for the same thing. So when you start making these investments to get in the right rooms, you foster better relationships, because each of those individuals are you. And they've been looking for a room full of us. So there's no bigger cheat code to me than finding your tribe through one, culture, and then two, obviously those that are in the specific genre of business or genius that you want to go into. And then as fast as you possibly can, start spending more time with people that fit your future as opposed to your past.
Ooh, that's a fire bar at the end there. I love that. So, what advice do you have for the individuals who are afraid to take that leap of faith and maybe join that group, and are facing the fears that the devil might be whispering in their ear about not taking that leap of faith, and ultimately how they can, I guess, vet that they're heading in the right direction with the right people, and then ultimately like get over that hurdle, if you will?
Do it afraid. My pastor said it best many years ago. He said that faith isn't the absence of fear, it's the presence of God. I do a lot of things afraid. Just about every time I go to speak publicly, I got the angst and I got but I prepare myself to a point that I can trust God. And I think a lot of the time we feel inadequate because we are. We don't prepare ourselves enough, right? And if we prepare ourselves enough, then we know that by God, his sovereignty and his grace, he's going to carry us through the what ifs, right? That's the faith part. And so we got to prepare ourselves as much for the opportunity as possible. In saying that, even as much as time for a life change, you have to prepare yourself. What due diligence did you do? How much have you read into this? How much have did due diligence on the particular person or group that you want to involve yourself with? Have you reached out to others and got their experience, engaged that, and then prayerfully considering all those things as you're having your conversation and dialogue with God. That's all prayer is, just having a conversation with him about what you're thinking and feeling. And then you get a sense of move forward, you know? And the funny part is that sometimes he doesn't tell you emphatically move forward, but he doesn't tell you not to do it. So in the absence of a yes, we also just have to seek and find out, do we feel that emphatic no that we normally would feel in our gut if something was off? And if that's not there, then it's an indication that you got an opportunity to exercise your faith.
That's powerful. I think that one thing I'd like to add on to that is, different periods of time where you're exercising that faith. It can look like the activity of taking some kind of leap of faith, but then you can also end up in this place where it's like quiet almost, right? And like you're not really hearing the voice of God anymore. You're not really hearing much of the devil either. And like I've been in that at least once in my life, and it is a weird strange period because it's almost like both of them are waiting for you to decide which way you're going, you know? And it's crazy. So like I'm curious to know if you've ever experienced that yourself, that period.
I literally got goosebumps on my face right now. I live in that period more than any other period. For whatever reason, like June 20th, 2020 is when God told me to start investing in real estate. And then last year he told me to get rid of it all. Right. So I'm like, but why would you? So I'm on this 3, 4 year journey of building over 100 units and buying all these apartments. And then he's like, okay, cool, great. Yeah, now sell it. I got something else for you to do. So it's frustrating. I literally, John, said this today to God. I was like, I guess I'm back in one of those seasons again. I spend time with you in the morning. I'm reading your word. I spend time with you at night. I'm reading your word. I talk to you throughout the day. And very seldom do I hear anything. But at the very same time, I got this peace too because I'm not really hearing the enemy either. So I live most of my life in what I would call spiritual purgatory, where he gives me assignment and then he just goes quiet for a while. But I feel his presence when I do the thing I'm supposed to be doing. I feel his presence right now as we're talking, right?
Same
So
here.
when I'm doing the thing I'm supposed to do, I feel his presence, but then I just don't hear from him much in between.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. The purgatory concept, right? And it's like, gosh, I think for me, what it was like a decision period where it was like you got to move forward. But then, like you said, the moment you start doing the things that are that moving forward, you start feeling his presence again, and it's almost like you're in the part of the journey that is the part where you actually are creating the story that you will one day share to the people who need to hear it, essentially.
Wow.
If you want to save time on watching all the episodes, but still get all the gold nuggets that we find from interviewing these 7, 8, and 9 figure entrepreneurs, then you can get all of that inside of the 2 Comma Club newsletter. Just go to 2ccnewsletter.com and subscribe.